Welcome to the Explainer. You know, right now, at this exact second, AI systems are just gobbling up millions of gigabytes of data. But here is the multi-trillion-dollar question for us. How much of that data is actually true? Today, we're looking at something absolutely fundamental. It's kind of like a conceptual earthquake happening right beneath our digital feet. We're exploring a core manifesto from Kadada regarding the future of artificial intelligence. It's a real look into how the very architecture of intelligence is being built, and honestly, more importantly, how it's being verified. Because the rules that govern the last 20 years of tech, yeah, they are absolutely not the rules that will govern the next 20. We're stepping into this era where the systems we interact with are scaling in complexity at just a dizzying rate. And this brings us to a really profound crossroad about what we value, what we build, and how we actually establish trust in a world that's increasingly run by machines. Okay, let's dive into this. What kind of information deserves value? Sounds like a simple question, right? But it's actually the central philosophical dilemma of our time. We are living in a world of absolute abundance. I mean, we're literally swimming in this massive ocean of data, trying to find just one drop of clean water in a polluted sea. So the value isn't in generating more content anymore. The real premium, the true value, lies in figuring out what actually matters and what can actually be trusted. And this isn't just some fun, abstract thought experiment. This is the core problem that every major tech system is desperately trying to solve right now. Think about it. If an intelligent system is going to make decisions for you, how does it know that the ground it's standing on is actually solid? Well, to understand where we're going, we first need to understand exactly what we're leaving behind. This is the historical paradigm shift we are currently living through. Section 1. Attention versus verified information. Take a second to really process this contrast with me. The internet, the version you and I grew up with and used for decades, it built an entire global economy around one highly specific thing: attention. Systems were literally designed to just keep your eyeballs glued to the screen, harvesting that attention, completely regardless of whether the underlying content was actually true. I mean, clickbait absolutely thrived, right? But artificial intelligence is a whole different ballgame. AI is building an economy around information. It doesn't run on human attention. It runs entirely on data inputs. So think about it. The old internet rewarded a flashy, totally fake headline just because you clicked on it. But if you feed an AI medical assistant that exact same clickbait noise, the result could be a catastrophic misdiagnosis. We are shifting away from an economy that rewarded whatever was the most distracting to an economy that will only function if it's built on what is fundamentally informative and structurally sound. That is a massive, structural, magnificent shift. And honestly, it leads us right into the danger zone of this new economy. Section 2. Distinguishing signal from noise. Because right now, the data feeding these massive AI systems is incredibly vulnerable. We have to break this old mental habit immediately. Just because something is published absolutely does not mean it's reliable. The web is overflowing with published material. But hey, just because someone published a 5,000-word blog post claiming the Earth is flat or that birds aren't real doesn't make it a verified input. In the eyes of an intelligence system, publication status guarantees literally zero. A published web page is not a safe foundation just because it exists out there. Usually it's just noise masquerading as a signal. And let's take it even a step further. Just because something is labeled does not mean it's correct. In the AI world, humans and bots label data so the machine can learn, like tagging a photo as a dog or categorizing an article as factual. But even when data has been formally tagged like this, it is so frequently flawed. A label is honestly just a claim. Without actual proof, that label is completely meaningless to an intelligence system that's trying to construct a factual view of reality. And this brilliantly illustrates the final and probably the most dangerous trap of all. Just because something is repeated does not mean it's truth. An algorithmic echo chamber does not magically manufacture truth just out of sheer repetition. We're already seeing this happen, where AI systems are confidently citing totally non-existent legal cases or making up scientific papers simply because a piece of fake data was repeated across a bunch of junk websites. The frequency of a data point does not increase its validity, period. So, for intelligent systems to truly scale safely, they can't rely on publication or labels or repetition. They must have a hard, unyielding mechanism to isolate the pure signal from the deafening noise. So how do we actually do that? How do we fix this fundamental unreliability of the data feeding our future? Well, we need a brand new architecture. Section 3. The 4 pillars of trust. So the crucial point is that for the foundations of an intelligent system to actually matter, they have to stand on these 4 specific pillars. First up, provenance that can be traced. Second, metadata that can be verified. Third, contributors held accountable. And fourth, incentives aligned with accuracy. Think of it exactly like banking, all right? Provenance is knowing who actually wrote the check. Metadata is verifying the exact dollar amount. Accountability is the signature right there on the line. And incentives are the fraud penalties that keep everybody honest. Individually, sure, tracing origins, verifying data, holding people accountable, and aligning incentives, they're all super useful. But when you combine them, they create this impenetrable foundation for AI. Together, they change the entire architecture of trust. The ultimate goal of those four pillars is what we call inspectable trust. Now, I know this is a bit of a dense concept, but it's absolutely vital. Inspectable trust means we completely throw out the idea of just assuming something is correct. Instead, the reliability of information is continuously verified and proven. Really think about that for a second. You don't just trust the system because it has a sleek logo or a nice interface. You trust it because the framework allows the data's reliability to be mathematically and logically inspected at any given moment. It is literally the end of blind faith in digital inputs. And this transition away from blind faith, it points us directly toward Cold Data's specific vision for the years ahead. Section 4, an evidence-based future. Let's move to and see how this builds, because this is where verified intelligence completely reshapes our everyday interaction with technology. Look at how this framework evolves. In step 1, our past, we had assumed trust. We basically just blindly hoped the information the internet fed us was right. In step 2, the present framework we are building right now, we have inspectable trust. We demand that reliability can actually be proven. But step 3, that's the future of AI, autonomous evidence. We are evolving toward autonomous agents that won't just generate some text or an image. They will actively evaluate the credibility of their inputs before they ever make a decision. Imagine an AI financial advisor that flat out refuses to execute a trade because it mathematically proves the news source triggering that trade is completely fake. They're going to operate entirely on hard, verifiable evidence instead of human assumptions. It's a real game changer. So why does this matter to you? Why should we care about inspectable trust and autonomous evidence? Well, because as Cold Data states perfectly, reliability has economic weight. And this isn't just some abstract theory. When AI systems are out there making autonomous decisions for your business, your personal finances, your healthcare, or even just your daily logistics, the credibility of the data they use has literal, tangible economic impact. A system operating on bad data is going to cost money, time, and opportunity. In the new AI economy, reliability is the ultimate currency. Which brings us to our final thought. The next phase of artificial intelligence isn't going to be defined by who can scrape the most data or who can generate the most information the fastest. No, it is going to be defined by this one single question: who can prove which information deserves trust? The answer to that question is going to determine the entire architecture of our future. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking the hard questions, and I will see you next time.